So creating the Energy Storage Association has been a kind of a 2-year project. So I've been in the industry for a number of years, deeply frustrated that storage, and working for manufacturers, working for distribution and the whole supply chain, storage has kind of always been this forgotten element of solar and storage, and you know, we're here at Solar and Storage, but it's been very much solar focused, and the trade bodies have been very much generation focused. So there's trade bodies, folks like ESA UK, on solar generation. And I really spoke to a number of them over the years in previous roles that I've done. And it's this obsession with generation, which we've kind of had to do. And always storage has been sat behind. So I was talking with a number of manufacturers, with education, with people like Octopus Energy, and everyone was kind of feeling the same. And I'd met a guy called Mark Coyle, who's now at Good Energy. And Mark and I were sort of sharing this passion. I was like, we just need to do this. Bit of a long story short, Mark was the original plan to be the CEO. And then he was doing his own consultancy, couldn't do it. I decided, right, I'm going to do it. So I left Give Energy in March, and then trying to create the Energy Storage Association, working then with people in the show here, manufacturers and others. And there was this common feeling of frustration, and particularly in a couple of areas, behind the meter, residential storage, commercial and industrial, and long duration storage with a geological content, so be it that geothermal, hydrogen storage. So we got a real good cross census of manufacturers, education, energy companies willing to put money in and help me get this off the ground. And then we've just been adding members since. You know, I've created businesses, I've launched businesses around the world. Starting this trade body was definitely a new thing. And starting a trade body is actually really hard. it's much harder than starting a business, because one, you're relying on people putting money into it to help you get off members. Getting a business account, bank account for a not-for-profit company or a limited by guarantee, which is what we are, it's almost impossible. It took me months and months with various different banks to physically get a bank account. So that was the logistics behind it. And then sort of, you're just thinking of everything, right, we need a website, we need to have all this promotion and skills that I don't have. And it's like, well, we've got no money, we can't afford to do anything. And it's like, how do you get and lever help from some of the founders? Because until you've got a bank account, you can't do anything. You can't ask for money because you've got nowhere to put it. So in the early days, it was a bit of beg, borrowing and stealing some of the, you know, getting some of the articles and the legal side. So people like SunSync and Give Energy helped using their lawyers and did it and processed it through there. My wife actually has done all the marketing in her spare time and did all the website. But the one singular thing, deeply frustrating, was the bank account. That was it, because nothing else worked. You cannot have a business without banking. Yeah, I think, you know, the policy side is one of the big things, the advocacy that we're doing and representing the voice. And it's quite interesting, as I've engaged with DESNZ and NESO, they've really embraced this, because they've not had anyone to talk to and really engage with it. And what we're seeing, some real encouragement with policy, the flexibility roadmap. The deep frustration is still the future home standards, because we're still building legacy challenges without adding storage into a new build. We know that Octopus have proved it as a classic example. Solar, heat pump and a battery, you don't have energy bills for 10 years. So why are we not making this a standard? Why are we still adding generation without thinking about the long-term need of the communities? I think one of the other elements, there's an element we're already engaged with GB Energy, is how do we make this technology available to all? So energy poverty is one of my big passion projects, and as a personal angle. So how do we help get this technology? And we've been working with now GB Energy, and which links into work with Treasury too, and saying this technology can be added to all people. It's not just about the people who are able to pay. So there's a big gap there that GB Energy is starting to get their head round, and just this week we've carried those discussions on. I think the other angle is very much about those who can afford to do it. How do we make that simpler to do that as well? So the VAT removal of energy storage a couple of years ago now that needs to be made permanent. There's some tactical things, there's some more structural things. The whole piece, the government's still not got its head around the long duration geological sort of storage element and how that will work. It's within the roadmap already as a potential if we can store hydrogen and generate hydrogen. But what we'd like to do, and it's in the sort of the current thinking, is create the roadmap of how we think storage should play out, that NESO can refer to, that DESNZ can refer to, you know, everybody can work to, and we can go, right, this is how it should all work together. So yesterday I was on a chat and I spoke about really energy poverty and storage role in energy poverty. So that was great. I had some great interactions with a couple of organisations, particularly about solving and tackling that and how we do that. Baroness Berger, our chair, she's delivering a keynote tomorrow just about the importance of storage and how we need to think about that. And the panel discussion tomorrow, again, playing into with a range of stakeholders into the importance of storage. I'll be curious about the panel tomorrow. I think in terms of what can we learn, how can we promote, how can we learn from others who have been before us, the importance of legislation, a bit similar to the previous question, and what more needs to be done within legislation, how we can drive that storage agenda. We're at this exciting juxtaposition, really. We've been really pushing generation. Now with the flexibility roadmap, we're starting to think about the utilization of energy, grid services and flexibility. We know renewable energy generation is intermittent, but we know demand is constant. So the only way we can manage this is flexibility and managing our generation and storing energy. So I think people are starting to get their heads around this now. So this is a great show, and I've been really pleased with Terrapin embracing the Energy Storage Association since we launched. So a huge thank you to Sean Willis and Terrapin for bringing us on, and we're a partner organisation. As and I'll quote Sean in this, we're putting the storage in Solar and Storage Live.